Hello, Maple, and welcome to your first remote English lesson of our fortnight of remote learning. So, over the next 2 weeks, we are going to be focusing on a particular piece of writing. One of the things that came out of Mr. Ladyman speaking to some of you about English was that you guys were after having a bit more freedom with your writing. So, now is a perfect time for us to try that, and it was part of our plan in school anyway. So, what we are going to do is we're going to have a couple of weeks of you doing something called a free write. Um, there are going to be a couple of focuses from us. So for today, tomorrow, and let me try and work my days out on Thursday, we're going to be focusing on a character description where you are going to come up with your own character or characters, and we're going to have a think about how we can effectively describe them and get them to appeal to the reader. And then on Friday, we're going to plan our story, and next week, you're going to have a go at writing it. It's going to be something called a warning tale, which I will show you in just a second. But to start off with, let's have a look. So for your starter today, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to have a look at this character that we have on the board. And I'd like you to really quickly, just a few sentences, have a go at writing a character description about this character. So you can come up with a name for them. You can describe their appearance. You can describe what you think their personality is like. If you are comfortable doing it, try using show, don't tell. So instead of describing her as confident, you could say what she does that shows that she's confident. So I'll put it on nice and big for you, pause the video, and just spend a little bit of time, however much time you need, having a go at writing a character description. Almost see it as your cold task for this. And then when you're ready, unpause the video and we will carry on. Okay, so hopefully you've had a look at that character, and please do send me your character descriptions in, and I will see if I can share the best ones and some of the really good features that everyone in the class can benefit from throughout the week. So, like I said, our two focuses for this free write are a warning tale and a character description. So, what is a warning tale? Just pause the video quickly and have a think about what you think a warning tale might be. There is a big clue in the name of it. So a warning tale is a story where there is a warning given to the main characters at the start, but they don't follow the warning, and then they find out what the consequence of that is. So it could be set in any time. It could be that they were warned that if they went after the dragon's treasure, the dragon would come back to life and terrorize the local village. It could be something as simple as they were warned not to leave the front door unlocked, and then someone has come in and stolen something. So there are lots and lots of different ways that you can do a warning tale. So when you're planning your story, have a think about how you want yours to work. When do you want that story to be set? And a character description describes the main characters. It's a detailed description that gives you information about their appearance and also about their personality. And previously in English, we have had a go at using show, don't tell, where we attempt to describe characters through their actions instead of just through a long list of adjectives. And tomorrow, that's what we are going to be focusing on again, is having a look and seeing how we can turn those characteristics of a character and show them while still furthering the rest of the story. So you're going to be coming up with one or two characters today that are going to be your main characters for your story. I personally really like having two characters because I think that it gives you more chances for dialogue, and it means that you can have two different characters that you can describe in different ways. So instead of having one character who takes all of the focus, the reader has a chance to try and engage with two different people. And the main things that we're going to be looking at are their appearance and their personality. On the next few slides, there are some different scaffolds that might help you to come up with some ideas about the sort of things that you might want to focus on. For today, you're just taking notes. So it can be a mind map, it can be bullet points, you can draw pictures as well as writing those words down. It's however you guys want to plan your character. But I always recommend that you have more information so that you can get rid of some of it, instead of not having enough information that means that you have to add to it. So let's have a look at some scaffolds and have a look at some examples of how you could do it. So the first scaffold doesn't have a huge amount, so you'd have to come up with a name for your character, but then around the edges, you could add whatever information you felt was important. I always think that it's worth getting the key details in first and then thinking about their characteristics. So think about their age, think about, are they tall or are they small? Think about the clothes that they wear, think about the things that they like, think about the way that they act. All of those sorts of things can help us build a picture of what each character is like. This one's got a few subheadings for you. So my character looks like, my character's actions are, so what does my character do? My character's personality is, my character changes because. Lots of stories have got events that prompt a change in a character, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. And sometimes that can be in what's called a character's backstory. So if something has happened previously that's not important to this story, but it explains why a character is like they are, it can appear in the character description. So 5 years ago, maybe they fell out with their best friend and they've never been quite the same since. You can add that extra information in to try to explain to the reader why the character is like they are. It builds that relationship with the reader. The next one has got a few different bits to it as well. So you've got your character's name, and then you can have a drawing of your character there as well. What do they look like? So as well as drawing it, see if you can annotate to show what's going on. What distinctive features do they have? Do they have long hair? Do they have short hair? Do they have floppy hair? Do they have are they thinning? Is their hair balding? That sort of thing. All of that builds up a picture of what the character is like. And there you've got some different examples of words that you could use to describe a character's personality. Now, obviously, there are lots and lots and lots of other words that you can use as well. So please go wild with the vocabulary that you're using. I'd love to see a really wide range of vocab. And again, I'd love to share some really good examples with the whole class. How do their personality traits affect their actions? So if they are irresponsible, can you give an example of when they were irresponsible and what happens? If they are gentle, can you give an example of that? So how does the way they are affect the way they act? With this one, you're sort of splitting it into what they look like and what they are like. So you're thinking about what they appear to be like, and then on the inside, how they think, what do they feel, what are they like? A really effective way of doing that, as it says at the bottom, is to list 3 synonyms for said. So how does the character talk? Do they mumble? Do they mutter? Do they shout? Do they cackle? Do they murmur? How do they talk, and how is that affected? How does that show their personalities? And there's 3 ambitious adjectives to describe the character. That means not just boring adjectives like nice or kind or good. How can you describe that character with a word that will make the reader think, wow, that's an excellent word. That's not a word I see very often. And then for this one, what is your character like? What is your character interested in? What is your character afraid of? Do the other characters in your story get on with this character, and why? So that links to their personality as well. And especially if you've got more than one character, that's a really effective way that you can show that relationship. So I'll show you an example one that I've done for a story that I will sort of write as we're going along. And I think because it's coming up to Christmas, I'm going to have a go at writing a bit of a warning tale, but it's got a bit of a Christmas spin on it. I haven't quite worked out yet where we're going to go with it, but when we get to the planning stage, I will work through that and I will share with you what our plan is. So I'm going to have 2 characters. I'm going to have twins who are quite dissimilar to each other. So this is my first character, Katie. She's 8 years old. She's quite tall for her age. She's got long brown hair. She wears ripped jeans. Now, I think for my story, I'm going to make it that the jeans weren't meant to be ripped, but they are ripped because she's quite boisterous, as we can see on the slide, which means that she's running around a lot, she falls over a lot, and that's how the jeans get ripped. She interrupts people, she shouts. She's not that she's malicious, she doesn't mean to be getting in the way of other people. She's just quite a large personality. She's quite impulsive. If she sees something she wants to do, she'll do it first before she thinks of the consequences. She's quite impatient. She's a bit selfish, but not in a mean way. It's just the way that she comes across. She likes playing video games. So all of those things start to build up a bit of a picture of Katie. And now for her twin, Tom. He's also 8 years old. He's sort of average height, so he's a bit shorter than Katie. He's got floppy brown hair. So I was going to say long brown hair, but for a boy, sometimes floppy works a bit better because it's more sort of bouncy than anything else. He wears jeans and cardigans, so he's that sort of quite smartly dressed. He's quite gets interrupted quite a lot of the time. When he speaks, he mumbles or he mutters or he whispers. So he's quite shy. He's meticulous. So everything he does takes him a long time. He's painstaking detail with the things that he does. He tends to try to help Katie out. So we might guess from what I've put about both characters that they might not get along. But even though they're quite different characters, they do get along because they are twins. So he does try to help, which can get him in trouble sometimes, even though it's not his idea. And he likes reading. So again, we've got that contrast between one of them that likes reading, one of them that likes video games. So during my story, I can really show how they act differently, how they speak differently. So use those scaffolds to help you. Use my examples to help you if you would like, and have a go at coming up with that mind map, that picture of what your characters for your warning tale are going to be like. If you're doing a picture, guys, feel free to take a picture of it to email into me. If you're doing it on Word or anything like that, just send me over whatever you come up with, and we're going to be using it tomorrow. So good luck, and I look forward to seeing them.